Cool. Awesome. Thank you for tuning in, USC. We have Rec Sports Fitness here, and we have Student Health Nutrition here. My name is Tommy, and I work as the fitness specialist for Rec Sports Fitness. And we have Anora here.
Hi guys.
Anora is one of our personal trainers and group fitness instructors. So you might know her from F45 and all your other awesome classes you teach. And then who do we have here? We have Patrice here.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Patrice Barber. I'm one of the registered dietitians at the Student Health Center.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Tough times right now, but we're all here and ready to rock. So we have 4 different topics here relating to fitness and nutrition and how they kind of correlate to each other. So I'll start us off with topic number 1. And topic number 1 is benefits of physical activity. So when I think of benefits of physical activity, people think about building muscle mass, cutting weights, running, training for marathons, heart rate, all that good stuff. I like to think about it, especially during everything that's going on right now with the COVID-19. I think about reducing stress, like stress reduction. So, everyone's really stressed out with everything that's going on. It's kind of hard to take your mind off of what's going on. It's having an impact on everyone in America and the USC community. So, I mean, when I'm exercising now, I forget about everything that's going on. I'm just focused on myself and challenging myself in whatever activity that I'm doing. For example, if I go out on my runs, I have my Apple Watch and I use my apps on my Apple Watch and I keep track of my heart rate. And every like half mile to a mile I go, I check my Apple Watch, see what my heart rate is. And then at the end of my runs, I check and see if I was able to get to my age predicted heart rate max, VO2 max, and see what I can do and how I can kick up the intensity for my next run. So that's when I'm running. When I'm strength training, I'm thinking about, when I'm lifting my chest. So for this one exercise on Monday, for example, I was able to knock out 20 push-ups, 4 sets of 20 push-ups. So then in 2-3 days, when I'm lifting my chest again, I'm going to want to add another 5 to 10 reps to that. So go from 4 sets of 20 to 4 sets of 25 or 4 sets of 30. So just getting my mind off of everything that's going on. I'm exercising. All that I'm thinking about is how I'm going to challenge myself that day with whatever workout that I'm doing and how I can get better. So that really helps me take my mind off of everything that's going on, and stress goes way, way down. So that's it's kind of what I think about when I think about the benefits of physical activity. So how about you, Nora?
Yeah, so I think you mentioned a lot of great things. Obviously, there's a lot of really great benefits in terms of mental health when we think about physical exercise. So it's making the things that you're pointing out, like number one, you're kind of allowing yourself to get a little bit of an escape. But you're also talking about what you mentioned in stress reduction, which is obviously we're in a different type of state right now. We don't know what is going to happen next. We don't know, how different life events are going to change. So it's a really great way to do it. When I think about physical exercise, I obviously just think about our longevity. So my specialty is older adults, even though if you come to some of my classes at USC, you might not think that because they're a little bit more of intense training aspects. But if you do come to my classes, you know that I'm really great at modifying the exercises so that anyone can do them at any age. But my whole big thing about exercise is for our longevity, for our health. So I'm thinking about your joint health. The more you move, the better your joints are going to be, even if you are suffering from any type of arthritis. chronic disease management. Basically, almost every single type of chronic disease that we are battling, there is an opponent for more exercise, right? Whether it's just basic walking, just moving your body for a couple minutes a day, whatever that you can do, it's going to help you. So I take physical exercise and I think more about just moving our bodies. They feel better when you move. You get that little endorphin boost. And that's kind of really where I see what the benefits are. They're going to help every single organ system. They're going to be helping your heart. They're going to be helping your circulatory system. They're going to be helping your digestion. It really honestly helps everything. So it's kind of like exercise. Think of it as your little buddy that if you do a little bit, you know, you get to have a little bit more fun. You get to last a little bit longer, right? And you really help to manage all the things that might be going wrong in our bodies. Exercise is that little thing that kind of gives you that nice positive vibe. So that's kind of my overall take on what the benefits of exercise really are.
Cool. I actually want to add one more thing, Nora. You were talking about longevity and
Yeah.
bones and joints. So as a USC student, I want you to think about the long term. So think about strengthening your bones and joints, and 20, 30, even 40, 50 years down the road, because you were strength training and strengthening your bones and joints, you won't have any pain or limitations when you're walking upstairs, when you're in your kitchen and you're reaching to put stuff high up in a cabinet. If you're doing any yard work, you're crouching down, bringing groceries into the house or apartment, from your car or your bike or whatever. So I kind of just wanted to add that little piece. So
Yeah, it's in the sense of talking about preventative medicine, right? It's an aspect of that, as will nutrition, right?
yeah. So awesome. So we'll move on to
Oh, that sounds like a good thing for me.
so we'll move on to our second
A good
topic.
segue.
uh, all right. So Patrice, if you want to talk about health at every size for our second topic here.
Before that, something that has come to mind is just to thank you guys for all the fitness classes that are online. I have been talking with students day in and day out since we all went home, and everybody's doing the classes and everyone is feeling better because of it. The stress gets relieved. Everybody's a little less restless, a little bit more peaceful. And what that means is that making better nutrition choices. Also, it helps people to sleep. And we need sleep in order to balance our appetite hormones. So everything is connected. The physical activity, the nutrition choices, the sleep, it's the stress reduction. It's really all one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Did you hear that, Honora? People are
I
watching.
did all of them, right?
Yeah,
We're keeping people in it.
we are keeping people, and I love it.
Uh,
Um,
So
awesome.
when we first started to plan this little program, we came to something very basic right at the beginning, is that we weren't going to talk about physical activity for weight reduction.
Right.
And there's just a real basic reason for that. And that is because the number on the scale is not a reliable indicator for health. And that weight loss does not guarantee improved well-being.
Yes.
And, you know, I'm the dietitian. People come to me for weight loss all the time. So I kind of want to explain how I got to this kind of thinking. Okay. So I have been talking with everybody about food for decades. Um, Children through senior citizens, people of of- people of all socioeconomic groups, all races, all levels of education, all gender identifications. Here at USC, I get to talk with citizens from all over the world, people from all countries, people in good health, people with chronic illness, people with acute illness, and even recently people who are in quarantine. And what I have seen, what I have learned from all of these conversations over all these years is how tightly body shape and size can be linked to a person's self-esteem. can be linked to changes in relationship, whether it's with a significant other or between a child and a parent and a child. And when shape and size limit what a person will allow themselves to try to do in life. So I've really moved toward a health at every size way of looking at things. Putting the emphasis on shape and size is misplaced. Once again, the scale is not an reliable indicator of health, and weight does not guarantee improved well-being. Diets don't usually work. They're sometimes dangerous, and they're almost always temporary. But there are things that we know do help. The first one is true health enhancement. And that means paying attention to your emotional life, your spiritual life, your physical well-being, the whole picture. The second is acceptance of size and shape, respect and appreciation for the wonderful diversity in the world. All of the people of different sizes and shapes, even your own, whoever you are, accepting your own size and shape. The third is the pleasure of eating well. And what that means to me is being tuned in to being able to recognize and trust and act on your own actual physical feelings of hunger and fullness, being able to make your decisions about when to eat, how much to eat, and even what to eat based on how you are actually feeling. And the fourth is the joy of movement, doing what feels good, doing what makes you healthy, what gives you pleasure. And then the last one in this idea of health at every size is to work on becoming free of weight bias in ourselves. Weight, shape, and size are not a measure of character, of personality, of accomplishment, of potential, of talent, of kindness. And helping ourselves become free of weight bias helps us to see the beauty and the worth in everybody. So thank you.
Awesome. That was
Yeah,
great.
really.
Talk about that.
No, and just on the fitness side of things, you know, it's remarkable in the sense of how many people are dealing with body issues. And I would even say that a lot of the trainers who get into fitness have dealt with their own body issues in the sense of where they're going and what where they're trying to be in that kind of sense, and in that relationship with themselves. And I know it's a big struggle for a lot of our student life, a lot of our staff life, and on the aging spectrum of those things, you know, we can do everything at any size, we can be healthy at any size, and it's the same thing when we talk about age, right? You can do all of these things at any age as well. So I think that that's such a wonderful way to approach health, because we are all different. We wouldn't expect that just because, like, yes, we can dye our hair a different color, right? But we're all born in different bodies, and we have all different types of strengths. So I think that's a beautiful way to approach health and nutrition.
Awesome. And I kind
And
of want to,
one more thing, we are born different, and we are born with those strengths. And teaching our children from a very early age to accept their shape and size, to accept shape and size of everyone around them, to treat them to learn respect and appreciation of everyone, that's a wonderful gift. The other thing, if there are parents listening, if you want your children to have this, the best thing you can do is to not criticize your own body in front of them. Certainly you wouldn't criticize their body, but don't even say it about about yourself. That is a very powerful message too.
awesome. And I kind of wanted to add another something from the fitness side of things. So we're talking about health at every size. So maybe think about fitness at every ability. So when I say that, I mean, some people can sometimes feel discouraged about exercising and want to reach a specific goal, don't have the motivation. But just know, if you're putting in the work, um, and you're working towards what you want to get to, that'll help you find some more motivation. Because especially with me, believe me, throughout the last few years, there were some things that I've really wanted to improve with my physical fitness. And some days I kind of get down on myself. I'll say, man, I don't feel like exercising today. I don't think I can get to where I want to get to. But I use that to help give me more motivation. Like, that's fuel for more motivation, and that makes me want to work even harder, and also think about it as it's a process. So it's not going to happen overnight, but each day you continue to put in the work and continue to try to reach the goals that you set for yourself. You 110% sure will be rewarded. So motivation, reaching your goals. So I kind of wanted to add that little piece there. All right, so we can move on to our next topic here. So for topic number 3, we have components of a healthy meal, and we're going to touch on our immune system as well. So Patrice, if you want to start us off there.
Sure.
Awesome.
Okay. This is something that I talk about a lot in the office with students when they come to see me. And they'll be surprised and they'll wish they had learned it in middle school. So this is something I wanted to bring in today. The components of a healthy meal: carbohydrate, both simple and complex, protein, and fat. And the way I like to talk about it is that if you need all of these to have energy, to have focus, and to have satisfaction between your meals, satiety between your meals. So we start with the carbs, and we have all of them, but we eat them all at the same time. But I'm going to talk about the carbs first. Simple carbs, something like fruit or juice, very simple molecule. It gets digested and metabolized half an hour. Its role is to take your energy from here to here. Complex carbs, sweet potatoes, whole wheat bread, brown rice, that kind of stuff, is digested and metabolized also very quickly, within about 90 minutes. So we have a big jump in our energy, our metabolism, our focus, all of that. And if all we ate were carbs, say a bagel washed down with orange juice, everything goes up, everything crashes down within an hour and a half. So the idea is to make sure that there is protein and fat in the meal. It adds to this wonderful time release system. Protein takes about 2 hours, 3 hours to digest and metabolize. Fat takes about 3 to 4 hours to digest and metabolize. So carb brings everything up. Metabolism, energy, focus, your brain runs on carbs. Brings everything up, and then protein and then fat helps everything to ease down. It avoids the crash down. It gives you the kind of ease down. It takes about 4 hours for your meal to digest. And then, oh, look, it's time to eat again. You eat that combination again, and it comes down gradually. You eat that combination again, it comes down gradually. This is also a wonderful way to look at your snacks. A snack is a very small version of a meal. So a snack should also have some carbs, some protein, and a fat. If you need a little model for that, something like, it's why trail mix works so well. The simple carb like the dried fruit, the protein and the fat in the nuts or something like, it's a good example. Okay, so what we're going for is to be satisfied for about 4 hours between meals. If you're getting hungry before that, you might not have hit the right balance. There might not have been enough satiating food like protein or fat. If you're satisfied for much longer than that, the meal may have been a little too big. You also know if maybe you've eaten a little bit too much by a simple little test. After you eat, you should be able to get up and move about. You should be able to dance if you want to. You should have the energy for that. Or you should also be able to sit in a comfortable chair in a nice warm room and read kind of a boring book without falling asleep. If you can't do those two things, you may have eaten a little bit too much. But I find that when people use sort of gentle guidelines like that and they listen to their own body, it works pretty well. The other little piece about the components of a healthy meal is the proportion of those. This is sort of the old-fashioned plate approach, but honestly, it really, really works. For most people, if you look down at your plate and you kind of divide it, into little sections, 1/3 of it represents protein food, 1/3 is carbohydrate food, 1/3 is vegetables, and then there's a fruit and there's a beverage, and that is a very well-balanced meal. Some people like to not go quite as heavy on the protein and the carbs, so they'll make the vegetable portion a full half and then the other two a quarter. That works fine as well. If you keep a nice variety within each of those groups, sometimes the vegetables are green, sometimes they're orange, sometimes they're red. The fruit, a wide variety, the proteins, a wide variety, a carb, the wide variety. You're going to hit all of the nutrients that you need without really having to stress too much about that. If you've eaten your plate of food, sometimes it doesn't leave you quite satisfied. You've learned that you don't get a full 4 hours of energy and focus and satiation. Go ahead and have seconds. But the thing to do, and this is the big revelation always in the office, is to keep that ratio the same. Don't go back for another big scoop of rice. Then you have a carb-heavy meal. Don't go back for just another big scoop of vegetables, because that's not going to give you satiation for very long. If this is your plate, maybe this is your seconds with the same ratios. That is the very, very basic stuff. And that handout has a little bit more detail on it, and I think you'll be able to get it on the website.
Awesome, thank you. Do you have anything to add to that, Enora, or?
I just really like, in some sense, too, the real life application of testing yourself of when you are either satisfied or not satisfied with a meal, too. Because I always talk about, especially with my clients, because as a fitness instructor, you're always bombarded with about the fad diets that are out there, and where people should try and where people kind of fit in. And it's always, to me, about learning about your hunger levels, because I think that we've lost so much touch with our own a body's ability. Our body is an incredible machine, and we've just kind of stopped listening to it, because we are either comparing ourselves to we're reaching these goals, or we're just so focused outside that I think what I'm getting a lot from Patrice's work, and just in the sense of where we really should be focusing in health, is going more inside, right? So thinking more about how exercise makes you feel good. Exercise makes you move better. Exercise allows you to do more of the things you love. That's the same thing with food, right? We don't have to have this enemy relationship with food, which I think a lot of the diet mentality has brought into our culture, is like, I can't have rice, that's an evil food, or that's a bad food, right? Or rice is the best thing that you can eat in your life. Because those are two stories that you will see in any type of literature, right? So you'll go online and rice is great for you. It's going to be making you look like this ripped, beautiful body. Rice is the worst thing that you can eat in your entire life, right? So I think really learning how to make that perfect plate, and really learning, taking the time to eat, think, breathe, and like actually have that experience. Because I think too, and I wonder, Patrice, if you can touch on this, in different cultures, right? I think a lot in our American lifestyle, and especially more westernized culture, it's all about just throwing the food in to get to the next step, right?
Oh, I think that's our USC culture in some ways.
Yeah.
Talk with students who have 2 majors and a divergent minor and an internship and a job and a relationship, and they're just really sweet people, because on the weekends they go home and drive and mow someone's lawn, some elderly neighbor's lawn. We are busy to the max, and we need to take time for the self-care.
Yes.
And an important one is the nutrition and all of the things that go into the nutrition.
Yeah.
It doesn't just happen. There needs to be, some learning in the kitchen or the restaurant, what to do, and the shopping list and the going for the food and the bringing it home and the storing and the cooking and the cleaning up. And,
Yeah.
there are a lot of steps there, and all of them can be nurturing acts of self-care.
Yeah.
um, the eating slowly and mindfully is a wonderful piece.
Yeah.
We feel more satisfied when we take our time and we actually can get the aroma of the food. We take a look at it. We taste the flavors. We feel the textures. We are more satisfied with the meal when we take our time and we do that. We tell a little silly story in the office, which is more satisfying: the lobster dinner that you eat driving on the freeway, or the peanut butter and jelly sandwich that you sit down with under a tree and watch everybody go by on campus.
Yeah.
You know, um, simple little hints. Everybody laughs at simple little hints, like when you're eating, swallow everything that's in your mouth before you put any more in.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
know, you're
Yeah.
you're eating a sandwich, put it down between bites. Don't pick
Bites.
it up
Yes.
until
Hmm.
you've swallowed it. It lets your body's feeling of fullness catch up while you're eating.
Yes.
And it really enhances our enjoyment of the food.
Hmm.
I'm learning stuff here.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, that was awesome. Awesome. Thank you guys. All right, so for our next topic, want to talk about nutrition for fuel, nutrition for exercise, specifically. So I'll actually start this one off really quickly. As far as exercising and nutrition myself, um, there's been times where I haven't properly fueled my body up before I exercise, and that's taken away from my workouts. I'll feel lethargic. There will be no intensity. You know, I almost kind of think about it as a waste of a workout almost. I don't, like I was saying, no intensity, feel lethargic. So I kind of just wanted to start us off with that. That just instantly came to mind when I said nutrition for fuel.
Yeah.
But Patrice, if there anything you want to add to nutrition and nutrition for fuel?
Just the very, very basic piece of that. Um, the idea before we exercise is to go into our workout with the maximum amount of glycogen in our muscles. It's a sciencey word, I know.
Yeah.
It's the little bit of carbohydrate that our body will store in our muscles, and it's what we use when we work out. And the way we get that is by eating carbohydrate an hour or two, possibly as much as 3 hours before a workout. Again, you want balance, but if you think of it, it's carbs and some protein and fat before you work out, and of course, hydration. And that gives you the energy for the wonderful workout. Now, of course, if you're out hiking or rock climbing or walking at Disneyland all day, if your workout is more than an hour long, you need to keep eating through that. Um, don't allow yourself to get hungry before you decide to eat, because you really can't replace at that point. Start to eat before you feel hungry, drink before you feel thirsty for a long workout. And then afterward, the idea is to replenish. And at that point, it's again carb, protein, and fat, but it's more carbs, protein, and fat, especially if you're looking to build muscle. And it's just and of course, hydration. And it's a very simple way of looking at it. And depending on what your sport is and what you want to accomplish in your workout, you're going to eat a little differently. But that's just the very basic.
Awesome. I actually have a quick question actually about nutrition and nutrition for fuel. I know it's a hot topic for people who exercise in the mornings. So intermittent fasting. People, I've heard people
Making the
know
same
that
funny face.
as
And I was like,
intermittent, as if you don't eat in the morning and you exercise, that'll burn the stored fats in your body. So Patrice, if you can maybe expand a little bit about intermittent fasting, because I've talked to so many people about that, and they think about that in their head. I'm gonna lose weight. I'm gonna get ripped, shredded, all these exercise terms from
They're scary words to.
yeah.
Um, I I think intermittent fasting works well when we think of our body as a machine. I don't think it works as well for many human beings, especially college students.
Yeah.
A busy college student, our typical student is up early in the morning till late at night, and they need energy, they need fuel, they need to function at a pretty high level throughout the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that is 3 meals. And if you're going more than 5 hours between meals, that's a snack.
Mm-hmm.
And I I don't generally encourage intermittent fasting for students. There is one kind of fast that I can get behind, and that is the 12-hour fast between dinner and breakfast the next day. But anything more than that, I just really can't endorse for college students. Also, for the morning workout, um, generally, I encourage someone to make sure that they've got a good balance of carb in the evening meal or the last snack of the day. And then maybe when they wake up, maybe there's even a little top off with a small glass of juice or a banana or a half banana, depending on who you are and how much you like to eat. Those little pouches of applesauce. You're hearing quick acting carbs here, something that tops off the glycogen stores.
Awesome. And Nora, have anything to add?
Yeah, so I think too, because I get this question a lot about eating before workouts. I am a person who does prefer to usually work out right when I get up. It's something in the sense of just it helps. It's something I swam competitively from 8 years old. So it was one of those things that like you woke up, rolled out of bed and got into a pool. It was just you didn't even have time to think because it was always so early. Um, so I've kind of my body almost has adjusted to work that way. But I also have clients that if they don't eat before a workout, they're going to faint. They're going to have no exercise, like no energy abilities. So I always tell basically almost the same thing that Patrice said, just a small, like test it out. Start with a banana, start with half a banana. I always say the trail mix because I think that's a really easy thing that it doesn't, because sometimes bananas kind of have that dairy feel that sometimes can get a little come up during a workout if you're a morning workout person. So I always kind of say that you have to, everyone's going to be different. It always comes back to that. So you have to take the time to learn what works for you. So I really think that that's a big thing. And then, of course, touching upon the idea too that if you are an athlete or if you are someone who loves to lift heavy weights and get kind of more into extreme sports and those types of things, there are things that you are going to have to do a little bit differently. There will be some more protein requirements. There might even be some more heavy carbohydrate requirements for you. So that, because I ate very differently as a swimmer that I do now, even as a fitness instructor. So that is something that you have to maintain. And again, you have to listen to your body as a athlete, especially as a swimmer. You burned so much and you had no idea that you were doing this. I was starving all of the time. So I was eating almost all of the time. And it was fine. It was a good balance. But you do have to learn how to listen to your body during that, even for sports performance. So maybe you didn't realize that that workout that you did yesterday, maybe you weren't that hungry after it but the next day you did it, it was 90 degrees outside. You sweated more. You're going to need more energy to refuel, right? You're going to need that hydration. And again, I love that Patrice talked about hydration throughout that whole entire thing, because that is one of the best things for performance, right? Rehydrating, getting some more electrolytes in there. That is vital for athletic performance and just good health in general. So I think that those are two really great points to put in. And with the intermediate fasting, I'm of a similar proponent with Patrice, in the sense of I kind of try and practice that 10 to 12 hour between dinner and breakfast. That's kind of my way to stay healthy. But I will tell you, I have almost tried everything in the books just to know what my clients are going through, obviously staying healthy for myself. I have never, ever been able to do it, because I, as a fitness instructor, work very early in the morning, and then I need energy late at night to maybe teach another class. So I've always had to have more of a 3-meal and maybe some snacks in between schedule.
Okay.
So just knowing that my type of lifestyle is very similar to a college student, I would always kind of recommend that as well.
Okay. Something,
There's one other point that goes with
Yeah.
that, if you don't mind.
oh, no, go ahead.
When you eat 3 times a day or 3+ times a day, you're giving yourself the opportunity for a wider variety of foods. Now, we have our sort of traditional breakfast foods. We eat certain sort of things at lunch. Most people eat a different sort of thing at dinner. And that is a wide variety of food. The wider variety of food, the wider spectrum of nutrients you're giving yourself.
Awesome. Something that came to mind actually before we finish up the topic. I've like within the last like 3-4 years, when I've personal trained or taught group X classes, people, and I used to think about this back in the day, replacing nutrients before exercise with pre-workout supplements. So I had that in my mind. I would say, I'm not going to eat a banana. I'm not going to carb up before exercise because I have this pre-workout, and that's going to stimulate my body, and that's going to be my fuel for exercising. A lot of people think about that and supplements and stuff. So I just kind of wanted to get your guys' take on that.
Well, I'll go first. So it depends. So sometimes if you are an athlete, or your type of workout is very, very high intensity, or in the scale of really heavy lifting, in order to more easily fit your nutrient needs, supplements might be helpful. I am always of the proponent of whole foods over supplements, because of the nutrients beyond those, right? And the sense of, a lot of times if we get used to the convenience of certain things, we start to turn more and more to convenient foods, and those are ways to spiral down into more unhealthy eating habits, in my opinion. So I sometimes tend to stay away from those things. I have used protein powders, sometimes still do, in order to hit sometimes some of my protein needs. But I always try to eat whole foods. And I will tell you that there is a difference. It feels different. When you are on a healthy diet of whole foods, where you're hitting that lovely plate that Patrice talked about, you feel so much better. You just inside feel wonderful. Whereas when I'm on sometimes more of a supplement-based diet, you feel that little bit of kind of almost on edge, where you've almost had a little bit too much caffeine, because you still aren't satiated, right? You're not hitting every need. So you're always kind of going for some more, there's always other needs to be met. So I think there's a lot of importance in the eating, the actual act of eating and chewing and using the full digestive process, that is of optimal goal, right? That's the optimal goal for everyone, is to get to the point where we're hitting everything through whole foods, because that is going to be where we're getting the most benefit from it. Because people don't realize that a lot of times the supplements and vitamins that you're getting from those types of kind of fast little powders or whatever, if you don't pair them with the right types of other foods, you're actually not digesting them. They're going right through your system. So that's another thing to kind of think about. Whereas whole foods and the full plate that Patrice talks about, you're actually going to be able to digest them and get all of the vitamins and minerals that are also associated with the macronutrients that we've been talking about.
Hey.
I agree. And inherently, there's more enjoyment and satisfaction from food, from a meal. There are textures, there are flavors, there are aromas. It's more satisfying. Like, for example, if we're talking about immune function, we know that antioxidant-rich foods are very important. You can take an antioxidant supplement and technically get those substances, or you can eat a wide variety of fruit and vegetables of different colors and flavors and sweetness and crunch and cook them in all different ways, and that's a whole different story. You know, we need omega-3 fatty acids for immunity, for immune function. And you know, there are supplements, and then there's salmon.
Yeah.
One of them makes you
Love me some
smile.
salmon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
You know, it's a whole different way of nourishing yourself. But sure, there have been times that I have worked with bodybuilders
Mm-hmm.
who follow a vegan diet
Mm-hmm.
and maybe don't even like tofu,
Yeah.
you know. um, and we probably wouldn't have been able to figure out how to meet those protein needs without some sort of
Yeah.
supplement.
Yeah.
There's going to be a bunch of little handouts on the website, and one of them is called Navigating Sports Nutrition Supplements. Maybe have a look at that before deciding what you might like to buy or look into.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I think on that note too, it's like, test it out, see what you can do by yourself. And then when there is a need, that's when you think about the supplement. Because again, I work a lot with older adults, and there's certain supplements they have to have in order to maintain certain functions. So that is another thing that we do have to consider. And I am plant-based as well. So that is why sometimes I do rely on a protein powder here and there, just depending on the convenience of my day to day, right? So those are things that you can always kind of adjust to.
Awesome. And one more thing, I actually want to add about that on the fitness side of things, when it comes to supplements. So me myself, times that I've gotten supplements before I have any scoop of any pre-workout, or like whatever supplements I get, I make sure that I do my research on the supplements, make sure, and I run down everything that I know with my body and how I function, if I have any types of limitations or if this can do any harm to me. So I make sure I do my research before I make any purchases of any supplements, because they are pretty penny. Yeah, I kind of just wanted to add that. So awesome. So thank you, Anora. Thank you, Patrice, so much for being able to join me for this meeting. That was awesome. And I also want to thank the USC community for watching. Once again, times are tough right now, but you know, with some exercise and some healthy eating, some healthy nutrition, it'll help with your state of mind. And when I talked about stress, reducing stress, so the new fitness and nutrition together, you just can't beat that. So on another note, for fitness, if you have any questions or if you want to learn exercises, workouts, or anything, we have a YouTube channel. All you got to do is search USC Trojan Fitness. You'll find our YouTube channel. You might see me or Nora on there. That's one thing. We also have our Instagram, at USC Trojan Fitness on Instagram. And also something new we added to the website. If you have any fitness related questions, go to our Rec Sports website. Under personal training, you will see a tab that says Ask a Trainer. So you just go type in your question, and one of us fitness professionals gets the question, and we'll answer it to the best of our abilities. So that's something I wanted to add there. So once again, thank you everyone. Thank you for joining us. That was awesome. Thank you USC for watching. Remember, stay safe and fight on.